Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ellensburg, Washington, USA. I doubt you can hear me right now. This room is just so violently loud with talk. Hey, everybody, please, calm down, quiet. No, standing up. Your mouth is... All right, we are 5 by 5. Welcome. You can see we have a stiff breeze, consistent 20 to 25 mile an hour winds that will be happening all day, and it's a Thursday, so we're heading outdoors for those that will be joining us. But the first message of today is it's late in the quarter. We have dead bodies everywhere, and we have some excused people who are not going to be with us today because of a competing field trip heading out to the coast of Washington. So we'll see who shows up. Right now we got like 4 people in the room. So you're here, you're present and accounted for. Hello everybody, my name is Nick Zentner, aka Ned Zenger, and this is Geology 351. The course title is Pacific Northwest. That's a bland title, but this quarter we're focusing on the Ellensburg Formation, and this is lesson number 15. So we've been at this quite some time. Can I say hi to a number of you? And if you're watching this in replay, of course, you can skip ahead, in this case, about 9 minutes before we start the lecture at the top of the hour. The local time is 11:52 a.m. Pacific time, if you must know. Where are you viewing from today? And we will just work with whoever is here. And I need to be full of energy just like normal, even though we have far less number of bodies in the room today. We have some good students in the room, so I will focus on them. Leamington Spa, UK, Fall City, Washington, San Diego, California, Billings, Montana, Tucson, Arizona, Orlando, Florida, Rogue Valley, Oregon, Tri-Cities, Washington, the River Thames. There's Dominic from Benson's Lock, the River Thames, UK. Hello, Dominic. I hear Indigo is buzzing in the background. Wonderful. Winter Garden, California. I just shut him down now. Unfortunate. Garrett, the Dutch Night Owl from the Netherlands. Amity Hills, Oregon. Birch Bay, Washington. Lodgepole, Alberta. Madison, Wisconsin. Burlington, Washington. Tanana Terrain. Look at me. I know how to pronounce it, Don. I think. Everett, Washington. Hamelin, Germany. Mike is viewing from Washington State. Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania. Oh, Raquel's getting a review session live. She missed Tuesday, so she's getting up to speed, talking it out. No, more. So
what if?
Oh, she's brainstorming. She watched the replay.
Well, yeah, I have a lot of questions right now.
Okay, good. Well, we're going to feed right off of you, Raquel. This is going just love it, love it. Let's bring the energy of 10 people. Raquel's on fire already. We haven't even started. Corvallis, Oregon. Portland, Oregon. Forest Grove, Oregon. A lot of Oregonians now. Are we talking about Oregon today? Hell no. Mentona Beach, which could be anywhere. Deming, Washington. Drizzly, North Seattle. Well, it's not drizzly here. Portland, Oregon. Tonasket, Washington. There's Chris. Willsboro, Oregon. Philomath, Oregon. Kirk. Come on, man. We got, for some reason, a bumper crop of Oregon citizens here today. I mean, we got 260 live viewers and counting. Larry, Sweet Larry the Latter from North Dakota, Fairwood, Washington, Tinley Park, Illinois, and so on. Okay, wonderful. Well, I've got energy from you. Thank you for that. People are filtering in. Joe, I'm using my peripherals. Joe's right there. I don't even have to look. Hello, Joe. And we're loud and clear and wonderful.
Sweet lady.
And sweet lady.
He's been calling me that. That's my nickname.
Chris says, what's up, sweet lady?
It is so fun. Sneak light. Better what you
That's
call
one
it.
word. Yeah, what do I?
I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. We got energy. If nothing else, these after the class sessions where a couple of students talk directly to you, I think If it was unclear to you before, there's energy that is provided. This room is full of energy, even on a day where we're missing a bunch of bodies. And have you ever done performing in any manner? I'm not confining it to teaching now, just any kind of performing. It's a collaborative thing. So if you're just staring at the back wall and talking to nobody, then it doesn't matter who's in the room. But if your style is to look people in the eye and be 100% real instead of 100% fake, then you are dependent upon the people. And just in the last 5 minutes, we've had a jolt of energy with everybody showing up. So I'm going to use that energy best I can. Hope you enjoyed today's lecture. Thank you. Give you another shot out the window. Nope, that's not the window. That's the window. I can't emphasize enough how different this campus still is compared to pre-pandemic. Like this, there would be 75 more bodies right now. Before March of 2020, there were 75 more bodies at a class change at approaching noon on a Thursday. But this campus and many, many others are struggling. They just don't have the enrollments like we did 5 years ago. Feels like 50 years ago. That's just the reality, I'm afraid. It's kind of fun to see that breeze though, huh? We'll see how many come on the field trip this afternoon, but my voice will probably not last as you're trying to howl into the sun and the wind, most of the wind. That's what I meant to say. I'm seeing a bunch of 5x5s. I'm curious why that is. Oh, because I'm not live. Got it. Okay, good. All right. Nick from South Africa, absent. Scene, absent.
Well, we know Nick always walks in late.
No, I got an email. His dog ate his grandmother, which I didn't think was legal in this state, but it is. Yeah.
What did Tennessee?
This is a joke. What did tennis eat?
No, what did Tennessee?
What did tennis seek?
Seek. Tennessee. What did Tennessee?
What did Tennessee?
Yeah. What did Tennessee?
What did tennis see?
Yeah.
This is the joke, just watching me try to understand what you're saying to me.
The same thing Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
That's such a
Geography groaner. That's what that was.
I'm still that one.
So if I want to say it to the home crowd right now, what did Tennessee? What Arkansas?
Same thing Arkansas.
Same thing Arkansas. Doi?
Dad joke.
Dad joke. That's a groaner.
My kids don't have a dad, so I have to come up with a
Oh
whole
my
dad
God.
jokes. They're real deep.
You got her.
It's true.
That took a turn. That took a turn, Julie. Oh, there's a handout. Oh, there's a handout. Are you kidding me? There is definitely a handout. There's a free handout. Just like the tacos. Oscar, thank you for all this. Thank you for all this chalk. I went absolutely wild with the luminescent chalk today.
Nick Morris called me this morning saying that he was driving himself to urgent care because he was stung by a wasp. And
Yeah.
I should tell you, you should know.
Sweet. All right, thank you. Uh-huh. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. Matthew? Luke? I can tell you wanted to talk to me. Just looking, you're just the penetrating look at your gaze. Yes?
Well, I don't have it with me now, but because I forgot my laptop, and that's why I left. I came in earlier to talk to you about Saddle Mountain. petrified wood that goes layers and whatnot.
Okay.
And I know it's so big. There's no lava above Ringgold there. There's Elephant Mountain, and I think the pillows are in the Elephant Mountain. And then you have the petrified wood.
I believe you. That makes perfect sense. Thank you. I'd love to see what you have on your laptop to confirm that, but that makes perfect sense to me.
Ready. I know I need to blow mine too. Can I use your one?
It's high noon, young people. Am I yelling? Not yet. I'm not yelling yet. I'm trying to get Chris's attention. He's locked into Raquel's gaze at the moment. How are we going to work with this room today? We have half of the bodies. We have half of the bodies because of the coastal geomorphology field trip and Nick's incident with some sort of insect of some sort and many other excuses. But you are here, and we need to work together. I require us to work together. And you're like, oh God, what was I supposed to read? I'm not even prepared. You've already done that. That was Tuesday. You're off the hook. I'm not calling on you about some frickin' paper. We're just organically working together right now, right here in this room. And I went crazy with the colored chalk today. So I have both boards, both sides of boards going, and I hope that this works. Too many words. Let me do the bold open. Ready? Gary Smith sent me an email. I'm going to read some of it to you after the bold open. But there's a couple sentences in the bold open that I love, and it works perfectly for our transition. We're getting off the Hells Canyon story. We're weaning ourselves off of the Hells Canyon thing, as intoxicating as it was. We're getting ourselves back to the Ellensburg Formation and Gary's work. Gary says, if you follow the synclines, things make a lot of sense. I'm paraphrasing now. Synclines are valleys. Valleys are where rivers are. I'm still in the bold open. Maybe you can even stop drawing the maps I have right now and just listen to this just for a second. Gary says, yeah, these ridges we're about to talk about are in existence. He liked the concept of an untamed fence. You remember that? This is a week ago. And we had this established idea that halfway between Ellensburg and Yakima, there's a ridge that's important. He liked that. But he says, I think that fence is relatively subtle during this time that we're talking about the Ellensburg Formation. I don't think it's a monster fence. I don't think it's a monster ridge. And he knew that I knew that too. We all knew that. We said that last time. This 1,000-foot high fence that's out the window was not 1,000 feet high, but it was there. I'm leading to this. Luke's trying to find the ridge. There it is. Gary says, the ridges aren't the story. The valleys are the story. The valleys are sucking the rivers into the valleys. And we're deepening these valleys, and so the rivers just keep going into this sinkhole, essentially. So I got the energy quiet now because you liked that, and I liked it too. I was literally going to call this Rivers Suck, and then like clickbait or whatever, what's this about? So I went with follow the synclines. But synclines, valleys, rivers, the synclines are developing, the rivers are sucked into these emerging basins. And then we don't have to have a huge monolith. We don't have to have a Chinese wall separating these two things. If these are active, sucking valleys that the rivers just keep flowing towards. Do you like that? I like that personally. So no shit, we got a bunch of river cobbles to talk about today and all of next week. Yeah, because the river, the quiet rivers, keep coming in to these sucking valleys. That was the bold open. Good. I want to play off of you, and I want to set up the field trip this afternoon, as well as the week to come next week, our final 2 lectures next week. How do I want to do this? Let's just try a little geography first, and maybe I'll play off of you with just a few general geology 101 questions perhaps about what I'm trying to portray. We don't care about that right now. So, bold open, we did it. Valleys are sinks, that's another way to say it. Very good. Okay, let me try some geography, because this is especially important for our time outside together in just a bit. We're leaving at 1:15, the vans are outside, Julie's driving, Sabrina's not here, I'm driving the car, we got at least one van, we'll see how many show up. If we really need the second van, we'll go and grab it, but I think we'll be able to fit all in one van. I'm guessing we won't have all of you coming. But who knows, maybe we will. Maybe this lecture will entice you to come, because there's 5 stops playing particularly right in to this scene. Got it? Good. Yakima, Ellensburg. Now you're drawing, now you're furiously getting this down. Good. Let me try to narrate, and then we'll just, anytime you want to jump in, you're not sure about what I'm saying, just go ahead. Okay? I need it. I need it from you. So there's 3 main ridges between Ellensburg and Yakima. Here's Ellensburg and Yakima. Boom, boom. North, south, right? So this is a north to south cross section. Here's the same thing, north to south on the map. We know this is a 30-minute drive. We're going to do it in an hour from now. I didn't even put the Yakima River Canyon on this map, which cuts through the ridges. We know it's there. Today, we're leaving Ellensburg at 1:15. We're going to stop at the Sela Creek viewpoint at the rest area, looking down into this impressive canyon. Sela's right in here. Sela's in this Weenass Creek Valley. Then we're going to work our way 2 more stops in the Sela area. We're going to drop down by Clemens Mountain. We're going to go to a place called the Natchez Grade. And then our final stop is at Weenass Lake, where we all were a few weeks ago, but we're going to return because of something I'm going to establish today. We're going to see that Weenass Lake exposure with a brand new set of eyes that are new to me as well. I'm excited to go back now that I have some narratives established for you. I use purple for the basalt lava flows. That's what I fell into, right? So we have our basaltic ridges, and we can say, Geology 101, that Menashtash Ridge, Umtanum Ridge, and Clemens Mountain are anticlines due to crustal compression. Let's involve you. Why are these anticlines forming? It's got nothing to do with the class, but what's the story? Mick? Compression. Why is there compression, Mick? Tectonics. Can we be more specific, Joe? What did you learn in 101? Clockwise rotation. I'm not even going to bother with a big map. I can do it verbally, that most of us know, I think all of us know in this room, that there's been a graceful, gradual clockwise rotation of the crust in the Pacific Northwest, and Canada is not rotating. So we're rotating the entire state of Washington gradually into Canada, and there's a fender bender, there's a difference of opinion, and there's a gradual squeezing. Anybody know how long that's been going on? Okay, so the answer is literally 50 million years ago. So since Seleucia's time, we started this clockwise rotation. New thought for me as I was drawing this an hour ago is that yes, these folds are what? They are our 16 million year old basalt lava flows that were flat, that have been folded. But we've got way more time before the Yakima basalts even showed up to have clockwise rotation. So what kind of valleys did we have even before 16 million years ago? It's not a huge question, but one that I hadn't thought about before until I was writing this out. But you can see from this cross section, it's more than folds. These are anticlines, and what's the title of the lecture? Follow the synclines. You know that a syncline is a fold in between the anticlines. This is 101. You squeeze, as Mick says, you squeeze and you develop upwarps and downwarps. Upwarps and downwarps, that's fine. But Geology 201 level says that it's not just anticlines and synclines. This is not just anticline, syncline, anticline, syncline, anticline. You're going to college in a syncline. It's not quite that. There's something else going on. This is called the Yakima Fold and Thrust Belt. These are thrust faults. And I think I even made them too high angle. I think the thrust faults are almost flat. So my bad drawing this. I guess I got carried away and wanted to show the importance of that fault. But the thrust faults, which are low angle reverse faults, are also from crustal compression. So we have both things happening at the same time. And those of you that were with Andrew Sadowski last Thursday afternoon, we were looking in the Yakima River Canyon at the very end, and he was talking about a major fault at the base of the ridge, and this is what it looks like. So we're basically folding these ridges and also shoving these ridges north at the same time. And there's still seismic risk about the next big earthquake on one of these big thrust faults in central frickin' Washington because the squeezing continues. That's the tectonic overview of why we have these valleys and why we have these synclines. On a map, so far we've been talking about this. Are we okay so far? Anybody want to say anything or clarify anything or add anything? Alita. The Y is for Yakima. Yakima and Ellensburg. Anybody else? Okay, I think you're guessing what some of these other symbols are. This is not our first day, but let's go ahead anyway. Cascade Mountain Range. Blue, Cascades, yes, thumbs up. So we have our two major sources of dacite that is flowing in to these synclines. So to clarify, follow the synclines, that's the title today. What do I really mean? If you want to find a bunch of upper Ellensburg, if you want to find a bunch of dacite with beautiful hornblends, which we will see this afternoon in the real life outdoors, go to the synclines and follow them. Gary Smith says, don't screw around. I don't want to hear about crossing divides. I don't want to hear about rivers going apeshit. Just make it as simple as possible. Occam's razor. There's a big dome of dacite, a big plug of dacite up by Bumping Lake. That's a lake that exists. It's called Old Scab Mountain. And thus far, a bunch of the dacite that's been found in the upper Ellensburg has been sourced at Old Scab Mountain due to a common mineralogy and a common age. Now there's a lot of work to be done with that to confirm that, and that's what we're doing next week. But the concept 40 years ago from Gary Smith papers, you've only read one, but on the website there's 5 more if you really want to get into this. And I've been reading those and carefully going through them, including the dates that Gary has. Old Scab Mountain is a major source. I ran out of room, but I think you know that a similar symbol up here is at Cooper Pass. So Raquel, after last week's class, wanted to know about this Cooper Lake. Don't worry about the lake. There's truly a mountain pass called Cooper Pass, and there's a similar dome of dacite that's in the right time window. Indigo, what's our time window again for the upper Ellensburg with Gary Smith? 11 to 7, 7-11, big gulp. But I think we're going to tweak with those numbers just a touch. Thank you. So far, that's what we've been doing. So I'm setting up next week. I'm setting up the field trip this afternoon. I can feel the energy from you. Thank you. I've got 2 big fat blue arrows and 2 less fat arrows. Trying to make the implication, if you haven't drawn it yet, in your mind, that we've got our known sources and our known highways where the rivers are being sucked into the Natchez River Valley and the Kittitas Valley, essentially, where the upper Yakima River is. And those are our 2 main places we're going to be looking and thinking for the rest of the class. Is there upper Ellensburg in the Weenass Creek? Yeah. Is there a little bit even by Umtanum Falls, where we all were a couple weeks ago? Yes. But I think these are lesser. I don't think these synclines are as robust. I know that. I don't think the thickness of the upper Ellensburg is as thick. I think I know that too. I had another thought just drawing it this way. Why are these 2 arrows minor and these 2 arrows major based on how I drew this? That's an awkward question. I'll just say it. If this is a long, go ahead, Indigo.
We got bigger rivers on the Yakima River.
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
Kinda. What's the relationship to the Umtanum fence? It's a basaltic fence. I guess all I'm trying to say is that if this is somehow a slightly more important fence than these other fences, then we're going to have maybe more rivers sucking. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm not even sure that's true. I'm cutting myself off. Okay? Do you see the connection between this and this? You have the concept of rivers sucking. I think I want to go to Gary Smith's email unless somebody else wants some clarification or anything else here before we do the next little chapter. I'm totally freelancing. I'm just working with the stuff I know that I have written out for you. Luke, and then Jack. Luke.
So I maybe backtrack.
Yeah,
A little too much,
sure.
But I'm looking at the thrust faults.
Right.
Can we see those? Can we see those thrust faults coming out the side of the hill? Is there a way to identify them in the layers?
Thank you. Luke's question is, can we see these thrust faults as they daylight, as they come to the surface? Typically not. As I've drawn it here, this is all bedrock, and then we're right at the bottom of this pile of river rock. You can't see the thing. So there's been all sorts of debate about the geometry of these things, whether this is thin-skinned folding or thick-skinned folding, how much of the crust is involved. And these are such infrequent seismic activities on these thrust faults. We don't have these clean breaks where you can see everything shifted. So they're kind of blind thrust faults that are difficult to see. But come on, man. I'm pointing now. You don't have to look now. You don't have to look. I'm pointing to the Menashtash area and the base of Menashtash. Past Dam and School, if you happen to know it. That is a razor-sharp boundary between Menashtash. I'm talking about right in here. That is a youthful place. In other words, that's not a gradual descent into Ellensburg. That is a frickin'... So I still wonder, what am I looking for? I still wonder if there's a way to get paleoseismic information on that Menashtash Ridge front. Next time you drive over there, take a hike up to the book or whatever, or get on LiDAR or whatever, like it is, boom. That's a youthful thing. So that's as close as we get, Luke, I think, to getting that thrust fault daylighting somehow. Jack. Jack, hello. My name's Nick.
I'm also backtracking a bit.
Yeah.
But it has to do with the day side.
Okay.
We're talking about Old Scat Mountain.
Yeah.
But what about the sawdust? Is the day side a part of that sawdust?
Yes.
So is the source also from the Cascade sawdust plus? Or
Yes.
Is Old Scat Mountain a part of the Cascade, or am I just separating?
I think you're working too hard now, so let me clarify and get you off of a little bit of the clarification thing. I don't think we need that level of detail. I'm making it more complicated right now. Jack, you love this. This is for you. This is a love letter to you. And you're like, that's not a love letter. I didn't say 16. You're right, I changed it, okay? So I want to change this. You have something like this in your notes. Jack's like, give me my answer. It's coming. You remember our rainbow? This is a week ago. And we're going to invert the rainbow in the upper Ellensburg because of all the logic that we used last time. We're not going to talk about it again. But I want to change this to 16 instead of, what did we have before, 20? We probably had 20. And then I wondered about the flood basalt and everything else. I just want to use 16 because that's the age of our flood basalts. And everything in the Cascades is essentially older than the flood basalt. So let's get off of the flood basalts being in the high country. And now I am coming to you, Jack. This upper Ellensburg, all these blue cobbles, are essentially all day sites for our narrative for the rest of the class. And remember, going west as well, that's part of the Gary Smith email I'm about to read to you. He says, yeah, there is Ellensburg to the west. It's not a rumor. There is. So Jack is wondering about, I think you can try your question again, Jack, but I think you're just wanting clarification on day site and how we plug it into a cartoon like this.
It's just the source, really.
It's the source. Well, let's do it. So the game we're playing, and that's where I'm heading here. Maybe you're really ahead of me. You thought we were backtracking, but I think your question is actually propelling us forward. The game is looking at the age of the sawdust. Let's do it. This is sawdust. Wow. This is sawdust. There's differences within the stack of sawdust, but the upper Ellensburg is the sawdust that was moved. You see these blue arrows? Everything's coming out of the Cascades, Jack. Everything is coming out of where the buzzsaw is. So our uplift I can use all three boards to answer your question now. Source of the day site, Cascade Mountain Range. Buzzsaw. Sawdust, 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 sawdust. A hell of a lot more sawdust here and here than here and here. Thickness, in other words. There are some day site plugs that you can still find in the mountains today. Those are the source. And so the game is, we got so much GD day site down here in the sawdust. Where is it coming from in the Cascades? And you're like, I don't know. I got to figure out the age of this day site in the sawdust, and then I have to match it with some day site plugs that are up in the Cascades with the same chemistry and the same age. I was going to save this till next week, but I'm going to do it right now. I've been reading the notes of a guy named Bob Bentley, who taught me when I first came here 35 years ago. He's passed away a few years ago. But I went through all sorts of file cabinets and grabbed all this Bentley stuff before it went in the dumpster. After he retired, before he died, but after he retired. I just grabbed whatever I could. I thought, I'll use this someday. I used some of it this morning at 5 in the morning. There's 31 plugs. Way more than I thought. There's 31, this is from Bentley in the 1980s, so this is 40 years ago. I don't know if there's still 31, but he came up with 31. In other words, I could draw 29 more of these circles with an X in it. That's what these are. These are the plugs. There's 31 of these plugs that are day sites that seem to be in the right age window to be potential sources for the upper Ellensburg. So some of you like this because maybe you're liking it because, I don't know, you're doing all this work and we're going to look at all this river stuff and Spladam, whatever the hell that is, and you're saying it's all coming from these two sources? Bentley says no. Those are the two that are most studied, which is barely anything. But there's all these other day site plugs way beyond the scope of this class that are just a bunch of student projects coming down the road. If I can get Hannah Shamlou interested in this, she would have all sorts of senior theses for the next 30 years if we can convince her to stay. She's got so much talent, I don't know if she belongs here, but if we can keep her to stay and she's encouraged while she's here and supported while she's here, we can actually get all sorts of wonderful stuff because the sawdust is here, Jack. The sources are there. The buzzsaw didn't take everything away.
And Old Scott Mountain as well.
Old Scap's one. We got 2 sources so far. But 29 others, I've got the names of plenty, but we're not going to bother with it. Finishing our narrative of I'm still opening things up basically for the rest of the class. Before we get to Jess, remember that in the neighborhood of Yakima, Washington, we have, don't forget about our golden quartz sites from the old Columbia. That's red, Cascade no. Chris's precious green cobbles that Jim O'Connor was talking about. That's red, they're green cobbles, but that's Cascade no. So, and in the Lydia conversation, I thought, oh man, this is crazy, man. You got all this 10 to 6 million year old stuff in Clarkston. I'll bet you that's Cascade stuff. She's no, come on now. No. If you're in the apron of the Cascades, it's blue. Get off of that. She talked me off of that pretty firmly, and I don't blame her. Indigo, just working that pile there. Jess.
I just wanted to clarify, I think you did say it specifically, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify. All of the 31 plugs are in this age range?
As of a geologist in 1981 views it.
Okay.
Yes, without the detailed, the geochronology, I think maybe you guys assume that it's just no big deal to just grab a sample, toss it in a piece of instrument, get a zircon date. That was only a few labs in the country were able to do that, and it was very expensive when I was your age. So that's a reason why this is so exciting now, because it's way easier and cheaper to get good dates. So yes, the 31 plugs look like they might be good targets, but we haven't gone to the 31. We don't have detailed dates from any of those, as far as I know.
And no indication that it would be in lower Ellensburg at all.
Might be. So some of this starts before, well, that's perfect transition. That's a transition to the back of the board. Are we good? I am yelling now, for sure. I hope you can understand it's because I'm excited about this. I'm literally sweating right now. Gross. TMI. All right, I think we're done with this. I think we're sticking with this, and I'll explain what I'm trying to do here, which is a narrative we're going to use for the field in our last 2 field trips, as well as this. Oscar from San Diego. Major amounts of expensive Korean colorful chalk. Oscar, we all appreciate you. Okay. What am I doing? How am I going to do this? How can I involve you? There is good energy. How can I involve you? I guess this way. So the purpose of this chalkboard is to carry over the narratives that we established on Tuesday. This should look pretty familiar. I've got a couple tweaks to it. I've cleaned it up. I've redrawn it. There's some addition, but much of this is going to be fast and hopefully review from our Hell's Canyon discussion, which I thoroughly enjoyed, by the way. Thank you to everybody for contributing to that discussion. And the viewers loved it as well. So fast, and then a springboard into new stuff for the rest of today. Lake Idaho, heard of it? Clarkston, Washington. Yeah, we talked about it on Tuesday. That's just north of Hell's Canyon, where the Snake is flowing north out of Hell's Canyon, and you've got Lewiston, Idaho on one side of the river and Clarkston, Washington on the other. Extreme southeastern Washington. And then the area we're going to today, Yakima, Washington, in central Washington. The star of the show was Clarkston Heights last time. Whether you felt it or not, and we were running out of time last time, we were leaning towards Clarkston Heights. Why? Can somebody verbalize why Clarkston was such an important part, especially in the second half of our discussion on Tuesday? Gavin.
We have particular kind of rocks that are usually like, that we think of for like Hell's Canyon in this area, which shouldn't be there, at least at this time period.
We had rocks in Clarkston that seemed like they must have flowed through Hell's Canyon. Somebody else. Which rocks are those? From when to when? Or what part of the chalkboard are those rocks Gavin's talking about? Gavin?
They were the lower.
The only rocks I've drawn, I guess. Right, so these guys in here. Right, so in the Lydia conversation that you watched for Tuesday, and I guess for today as well, she's like, hey man, I've got these beautiful river cobbles that are sitting above the Elephant Mountain lava flow and below the Lower Monument lava flow. That's what this says, Lower Monumental. We've barely talked about it. It's the youngest of all the German chocolate cake layers. I don't think it's got a great date. It's roughly 6. It's a wimpy little flow that barely goes anywhere, but it is at Clarkston. And we know have the rough age, at least, of the Lower Monumental basalt flow, purple. So Lydia's like, I'm coming back to you, Gavin. Lydia's like, we've got this beautiful sandwich of 10 to 6 million-year-old river cobbles in frickin' Clarkston, Washington, just downstream of Hell's Canyon. And Gavin, what about those rocks told her that they had to come through Hell's Canyon?
I believe that we were looking at like the relating to like the caves and what we're finding in the.
No, not going there. Somebody else. What did she see in the Clarkston Heights area to say, I've got something here. This has to be part of the Hells Canyon story. Raquel?
Is it the sand
Yes. What about the sand? Do you remember?
that they're from the Western Snake River?
Beautifully done. So Lydia is the sand person. She's not the cobble person. That's, unfair, but whatever. Like, I think of Jim as the cobble person, like if they're out there mapping together, which they were last week or 2 weeks ago in Lake Idaho. I just imagine Jim O'Connor. You know both of these people now. I mean, come on, do I have to say it? This is a unique class. You're meeting every person we're talking about through Zoom. We're not just looking at their paper. The papers are brand new, and you're also hearing them talk directly to you and me. That's pretty rare. All right, so I imagine Jim just focusing on these cobbles, and like, Chris loves green cobbles. I got to find some green. Oh, there's nothing for Chris here. There's no green cobbles here. And Lydia's like, I don't know about this sand, but I know that it's between 10 and 6, and Raquel's on it. I'm using red. But red's not specific enough for us. Red means not Cascades. But as Raquel hit squarely on the head, in the case of Clarkston Heights, red means Western Snake River Plain. I think we need the map. I wasn't going to do it, but I think we need it. I want to go fast. This is not where I'm ultimately trying to land, but this was the juiciest part of the casual. Remember, this wasn't even the new paper. But I think I really do want to make sure we can see this. Hells Canyon's right here. I'm not going to draw it again for you. And here's Clarkston. I'll put a little big dot and put a C. Okay, so we know state of Washington, so we're way down here in the lower right. Clarkston, Washington. And the Snake River is flowing north through Hells Canyon. Lydia says, holy shit, I've got red sand between 10 million and 6 million years ago that has a source down here. The Western Snake River Plain. She's like, it had to flow through Hells Canyon. And she's maybe sitting there in the lab or whatever when she gets these results, and she goes, Hells Canyon is not supposed to start till 3 million years ago, and I've got this stuff that had to flow through Hells Canyon as early as 10. How does she know it's as early as 10? It's sitting right on top of this Elephant Mountain. And it's not just sand, it's a bunch of cobbles as well. And apparently the cobbles also match the bedrock that we know of the Western Snake River Plain. Do you see it now if you didn't see it before? That's big. And there's no published paper yet, but that's the deal. So I'm including that again today because we're going to take some of these narratives at Clarkston, backtrack to Idaho, and then springboard to our topic this afternoon when we go see some of this stuff, because we can have some success taking some narratives from Idaho and Hells Canyon and taking them over to Central Washington. I don't think anybody's done that before, but we're doing it right here. We're trying it at least. Do we get a gold star if we try? Somebody give me a gold star for trying? Speaking of which, apparently there was a couple from Colorado that stopped in at Vindman's Bakery yesterday and said, I want to buy baked goods for the whole class. I think they were supposed to be delivered today, but maybe Jeff, the owner, forgot about it. Anyway, if you come next week, they'll be fresh. All right. There are lake beds. Okay, this doesn't work for me. Can anybody read my mind? I just did that on the board. I said we've got a river flowing through Hells Canyon between 10 and 6 to explain those red sands. Why am I confused about this? This is the Chalk Hills Formation, which is here today between 10 and 6, and it's a bunch of lake bed stuff. What's the obvious problem? Zane.
Because you're saying that at the same time that Snake River is going through Hells Canyon, it's also dammed out before Hells Canyon and causing a lake bed.
What are we doing? Why do we have a lake and a river at the same time? So now I'm either mishearing or misremembering what Lydia said, or maybe she has that same problem, because I think she did literally say at one point, I don't understand why the lake is actually there. She did say that.
Yeah, they had theories.
They had theories, and I think I thought she was saying why. Okay, I'm getting more confused. I should probably stop. I think the question, who said on pause? Was that you, Jess? So it felt like, as we quit last time, there's a Hell's Canyon story. Remember, Hell's Canyon is kind of right between these two spots. And it seemed like there was a Hell's Canyon older story from 10 to 6, and then a pause in Jess's words, which I really like. And then we start the sedimentation in Lake Idaho again from 4.3 to 2.1. So it's like a lake and a lake with a pause in between. And then 2.1, what happens? Oh, we don't have that. 2.1, what happens? Rapid incision, whether it's uplift or whether it's something else, I don't know. But like, that was the headline of the whole thing, the paper that came out last week. 2.1, 2.1, 2.1. Sheen hates that number. He didn't play along at all with the gag. Props to him. Okay, I got to get off of this, but I'm in trap. I'd like to go more with this. I thought she maybe had some sort of dam in Hell's Canyon to explain the pause, but now I don't understand why we have a lake. Jess?
We also have the upper, middle, and lower
The caves.
caves, which 5.5, 2.8, and 1.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just,
Yeah,
throwing that out there.
all right. So that was fun. We had the narrative of today's lecture: quiet, suddenly shouting, don't understand, suddenly perspiring, not sure, where the fuck the donuts? Then we go like this, and we start realizing we got all sorts of problems. And so what are you supposed to do? You save it. You bring it right back in. That's what we're going to do. We're going to save it. We're going to bring it right back in. And this is going to perfectly work for our field trip this afternoon. How many are coming? Probably one van full. Great. It'll be windy. If the coastal people left the orange vests for us, we'll use them. Otherwise, we will just run through traffic at each stop like chicken. We'll just play chicken on the side of the road, see what happens. If you're slow, you get killed. Oh, well. All right. I brought my chair. I'll just sit and watch. All right. The rest of the class, today and next week, Upper Ellensburg. Ready? Saving it right now. This is this. Upper Ellensburg has a basement. And this is a gag I introduced last time, and I want to use it. I wasn't kidding around. I want to use it. So the kitchen table, from this point forward, in the field this afternoon, I'm like, there you go. There's the kitchen table. Take a good look. Take a deep whiff. That's the kitchen table. The kitchen table is the Pomona lava flow, purple, and the Cougar Point Tuff 7, we know all about it, directly underneath. Either or, I think of them together. Pomona, Cougar Point Tuff 7, same snapshot in time. What's the age? 11.81. Thank you for playing. So the rest of our class is never going older than 11.81. We'll round it up to 12. Okay? So we're going to be younger than 12 the rest of our time together. And I might change my mind, but I think at least for today, I don't want to go younger than 6. We don't have the lower monumental basalt flow in the Yakima area. We will not see it today. But if I try to just follow this narrative across, I might end up really hating this. I think I maybe even hate it right now in real time. But if we feel like we want to try our best to carry this over, you're like, I don't even understand what you're trying to do. I'm trying to bring the 2.1 into this area. I want to do that. Unless you tell me that's wrong, I think I want to do it. I think I want the Yakima River Canyon to dramatically in size 2.1 million years ago. You see? Maybe you didn't see it before, but that's what I'm ultimately what I want to try to do. I can't prove it, but be fun to bring that through. Be fun to bring this 4.3 thing through for whatever the hell that is. We don't have the lower monumental flow to bring through, but I want to stop this at 6. So 11.81 to 6. We have a nice, obvious kitchen table. Spoiler alert, if you come with us, the first stop will have the Pomona as our kitchen table. You will see it, and then you know everything above it is a beautiful feast of layer upon layer of jello or whatever on the kitchen table. If you're still with us and we don't lose you and you don't get killed by a truck, the last stop, well, Weenass Lake and the Cougar Point Tough 7 is the kitchen table. That's why I'm emphasizing this so much. So you'll see the Pomona on the first stop, the Cougar Point Tough 7 at the last stop, and it's the same kitchen table. And therefore, we might be able to say something regional about what's directly on top of that Cougar Point Tough 7. Most of you don't see why I'm laboring. I'm starting to wonder why I am too, but I think I remember. Are we okay before I dive into this last act here? I'm feeling you wanting something good right now. I think I have it. Here we go. I've basically cried, occasionally like tears of joy, like when I first got here and I went out to Thorpe and I saw that outcrop of the Thorpe White Cliffs. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to teach at this place. And that stuff is like so close to where this new school I'm going to be teaching at. I was like emotional, like in a good way. So I was coming from fucking Ohio. It was like a bunch of cornfields, nothing else. And since those tears of joy, those have been tears of like frustration. Because anytime I visit the upper Ellensburg, like I was 2 weeks ago at Weenass Lake, I'm like, I don't get this. Why are these pumice class even here? What am I looking at? I'm literally saying that over and over again. Like people are like afraid when they're with me. I'm just yelling, what am I looking at? What is this? I'll probably still do that this afternoon, but I think I have a narrative that might work. These 12 to 6, you know what I mean? These 12 to 6 alternating layers of Cascade Yes, blue, in every one of these synclines, follow the synclines, alternate between cobbles and a massive unit. And if you remember the 101 lab, those are literally the words we would use. Draw a sketch, 101 lab students. You're at Thorpe. Please have a moment of silence for 1 minute and appreciate the surroundings and say a prayer and sing something. And then river, massive something. River, massive something. Well, I want to add to that now. The rivers are just that. They're cobbles of dacite. Look at these frickin' things. I'm not saying they're all this big. But these are beautiful dacites with fresh hornblends in them, the most spectacular hornblends that I think I've ever seen, consistently in every one of these quiet river deposits. And if we're in a quiet river deposit with a bunch of cobbles, there's tons of dacite. The dacite's on the move. It's coming from one of those 31 plugs, whether it's old scab or not. And it's just another day, just another quiet day of the river, tumbling these things in, ass over tea kettle. Bring them in. One day is the same as the next. No big deal. Compared to what? These massive things, whether you call them a lahar, or a hyper-concentrated flow, or a debris flow, or some other pyroclastic flow. I don't care what kind of flow it is, it's coming in a hurry. This is every quiet day for years and years and years. No big drama, beautiful, quiet little stream. Write some poetry, make out with somebody on the riverbank, we're good. But if you're making out with somebody on this morning that one of these flows is coming down, it's a great way to go out. And there's a lot of material coming in at the snap of a finger, or one Sunday morning. Spladam. A made-up word I've used over the years in my programs. Spladam. So as we're standing there looking at these 5 different outcrops today, that's the ultimate goal, is to read the outcrop and go, quiet river, spladam, quiet river, spladam, 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 quiet river. But it's all coming down these valleys. The source is identical, apparently. It's just, are you bringing it down piece by piece and doing bowling balls down the syncline? Or are you belching a huge vanilla milkshake into the valley all at once due to some sort of exciting volcanic event? It's obviously the spladams that take our attention away. But I didn't have before that the source is the same, that the dacite are riddled through all this stuff. I just didn't have that before. And we might see all sorts of exceptions to that. And you go, I know there's tons of cobbles that are not dacite. Could be true. Probably true. Now that I say that out loud, it is true. I think the spladams are 100% dacite. Let's be freakish about it. I think the calling card is that if you want pure dacite to inject in your veins, right? You only want the good stuff, the pure stuff. We got to go to the massive. Julie, this is for you. Orange is pure dacite in these massive units. What do I mean by massive in geology? I don't mean big. I don't mean thick. Not layered, not organized. There's no time for these orange things of dacite to settle out. And now that I say that, a week from today, Beatus Road, I got these amazing dacites at the base of a lahar, which I don't understand. So there was a little settling there. But anyway, I can't forget that. So massive to me, and you'll see it today, massive is there's no time to organize anything. We're not having all the bigs drop. This is just a big, shot of stuff coming out the back of a cement mixer that's thick. And you're like, well, why don't you call them mud flows then? Why don't you call them lahars? We're in the weeds, in my opinion, with sedimentologists, including Gary Smith. I haven't even read you the email. That's how we're going to quit. That's how we're going to quit. Does this work for you as a working narrative for the rest of our class? I was going to insist upon this. I think I'm going to back off of it. I wanted you to just use these terms: tephra, ignimbrites, lahars, cobbles. That's bullshit. Forget that.
What about the 100% diorite? That's what you say.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Dacite. Let's finish with the poetry reading. And the poetry is written by Gary Smith from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hi, Nick. I'm still a half a lecture behind you, but I finished watching Tuesday last week and getting about halfway through Thursday last week. Great fun to hear. Discussion of topics from my geology past. I love the buzzsaw and the sawdust metaphor and the use of the quilt, which is a scarf. I kept calling it a quilt because I'm an older gentleman. Thought I'd share a few things that are of potential interest. This is highlighted. About the basalt fence of Umtanum Ridge. The case I tried to make in 1988 is that the Yakima ridges and intervening valleys were forming all through Columbia River basalt time. Many workers in the 1980s documented how the CRB flows thinned over anticline axes and thickened into the synclines. I'm editing here. Clearly, the local fold belt was forming by 15 million years ago, or 16, but at slower rates and with little topographic relief, forming because the lavas kept burying the nascent relief. This is like a 3-page email. I'm not going to read everything. Likewise, Ellensburg interbeds within the lavas also thin between the anticlines. Umtanum Ridge did have a subtle expression during Upper Ellensburg time, but evidence for sufficient relief on basalt hillsides and shed basaltic clashed conglomerates are rather few. Don't pack up now, this is good. I can see you. I think that not only is it important to think of the ridges as fences, but more importantly, of the valleys as sinks. Rivers follow the low spots, and subsidence of the synclinal valleys sucked the main rivers to follow the northwest-southeast structural grain of the fold belt and deposit sediment in the subsiding valleys. I doubt that the Umtanum fence looked like much in Upper Ellensburg time because it was constantly being buried, first by the flood basalts and then by the dacitic debris upon aprons from the Cascades. So he's got even the aprons trying to bury these things. So you've got the lavas trying to bury an uplifting wrinkle, and he's got big broad aprons of the splidams are trying to bury everything coming from the other way. Cool concept. Didn't have that till right now. Lost my place. But even if the fence wasn't high, the rivers were sucked into the sinks. The primary reason I don't think that an apron from the Old Scab mountain area reached the Thorpe is that the crossbedding and cobble imbrications in the fluvial deposits in Sela, including Natchez and Kittitas basins, so deposition in valleys oriented northwest-southeast. You've got to follow the synclines, Nick, to follow these thick packages. And then I'll toss in two things and we're done. Is there sawdust on the west side? Yes. Several authors have commented over the years about poorly exposed, it is west side after all, dacitic volcaniclastic materials occupying a strat position permitting correlation with the Ellensburg. Bill Phillips from the DNR in the 1980s once took me to see outcrops of the Upper Ellensburg on the west side to get my opinion. Permissive for sure, and it makes sense that there should be sawdust over there. I don't know if anybody's actually found any though. There's too many trees, blah, blah, blah. By the way, the reason that Paul Hammond's master's student went to study the Old Scab was because my colleagues and I published an 8.8 million year old potassium argon date on the day site there and argued that that was likely a source. It was great to see the subsequent work with a petrologic match in 1995. That's Chris Humphreys, who's in the reading for next time. Jeff Klindworth from Vindman's Bakery has somehow snuck in, and he has goodies. Can I show these to the home viewers before I give them to everybody else? Would you like to talk to everybody, Jeff, at home? Oh, you would not like to. So thank you, everybody. We'll be out in the parking lot at 1:15. Thank you for attending today's class. Lots of blue Upper Ellensburg next time. Thank you to the couple from Colorado. Colorado couple. And we have cookies. And more cookies in the other one. Thank you, Jeff from Vindman's Bakery. Oh my God. Amazing. Cookies right here. Looks like they're two different kind. Chocolate chip and oatmeal raisin, perhaps. Indigo talking to Jeff from Vindman's.
Do you need people to talk to the home crowd today?
I think we'll try to find somebody new, Gavin. Thank you, though. You've already had a chance. Joe, you want to talk to the home crowd? Everybody, this is Joe, who was writing my 101 class in the fall, and Joe's like, are you sure I can do this? I only had 101, and you've done great in here, so just keep it going.
Thank you.
I'll let you finish your bite of your cookie. And Joe would like to talk to you a little bit as we get ourselves out of the room here. I'm going to put this right up here. Actually, why don't you just hold it, Joe?
Okay.
And look right up here in the camera. So
All right.
can you introduce where you're from and
Yeah.
maybe the ROTC part of this as well?
Yeah, so I'm Joe. I'm from Spokane mainly. I was born in California, but been in Spokane most of my life. Let's see here. Yeah, so in Spokane most of my life. I am also in the Air Force ROTC program here at Central. Wanted to be a pilot. Things changed. I don't think I want to fly anymore. Not sure what I want to do, but I want to do something in the Air Force because my dad was also in the Air Force. Yeah, that's pretty much that. I still like planes, even though I don't really want to fly them anymore. But ever been to Diamond Lake? No, I've not been to Diamond Lake. I'm not sure where that is, actually. Is it pretty there? I'm guessing it's a lake. What do you love in geology? Let's see. So what got me into geology was actually Nick. In my high school geology classes, sorry, not high school geology, science classes, and middle school, we would listen and watch Nick's videos on YouTube, his old YouTube videos, and I just loved the videos. And then I found out, 3 hours away, he was teaching at the college. So I was like, well, maybe I'll go to Central and try the geology program. I already knew I was going there for ROTC, so that was an easy choice to try out geology because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But I took his 101 class in the fall, and I just loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. The lab portion of it, going all around Ellensburg here up to Thorpe, it was just beautiful. I loved it, and I met a few people, so that's always nice. So yeah, pretty much Nick got me into it, and then also the Columbia, like over at Vantage, crossing the Vantage Bridge, that whole geology over there, I just thought was absolutely gorgeous. Where are you going with that gun in your hand? What do you mean? Quit the Air Force and join the Army, be a tanker? No. I've heard horror stories about that. I'm good. Drone fighter pilots, that was definitely one thing I was thinking about, and I still am thinking about. I just don't know if I want to be, up in the air flying, but being in some room looking at a computer screen doesn't sound too bad. Let's see. We Zentnerds are in those old geology videos. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it in a disrespectful way, I promise. Have I hiked around Babcock Bench? No, I've not. I have no idea where that is. Let's see. Let me scroll back up. I missed a couple of you guys. Joe looks like he said yes, drill sergeant, once or twice. No, we do not have drill sergeants here, but sometimes they do yell at us. Yes, I am. So I am majoring in geology. I am the BA major instead of the BS because the BS would make me stay an extra quarter in the fall of a fifth year, and for ROTC, I have to do 4 years. So I decided to go with the BA major, which worked out because I'm not very good at math, so I don't have to do calculus with that. Think about submarines. That's Navy, and I'm good. I do not want to be on a submarine. My girlfriend's dad was a technician on submarines, and oh man, I don't want to do that. That's scary. Favorite part of this class? Yeah, that's hard because I'm learning a lot, but it's so much that it's kind of, how do I say it? It's like so much that I'm hoping I retain all of it. But I think favorite part of the class, honestly, I think the Hell's Canyon. I thought that was so interesting because I didn't really know a whole lot about Hell's Canyon, so learning about that was really fun. Hey Joe is an old blues song. I like blues music, but I haven't heard
Jimi Hendrix.
that one of yet.
You'll have to look it up.
How do I balance ROTC with BA studies? It's not that bad. ROTC doesn't take up a whole lot, which is nice. I mean, I can sign up for jobs and whatnot and take on responsibilities if I want to, but if I have a busy workload, then that always comes first, is what they tell us. So it's academics, then ROTC. That's pretty much how they want us to do it, because our GPA really matters for that. Favorite field trip so far, definitely Frenchman Coulee. I liked that one, just because I got we went over the diatomaceous earth. That was really cool to see that. How will geology impact an Air Force career? Well, it won't really, because Air Force, unless I'm going to a specific thing like civil engineering, I don't need a specific major. They'll take pretty much whatever, like especially for pilots. They just want you to have a bachelor's degree. Hold on, let's see.
That's plenty, Joe.
Yeah,
Thank
you think
you.
so? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Thank you, guys. It was fun talking to you.
Good job. Thank you for doing that.
Of course, of course.
Okay.
Have a good day, Nick.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, everybody. Well, it's Thursday, which means we're heading outdoors, and I hope you'll enjoy today's episode. I was concerned we would not have much energy, but those that did come this late in the quarter brought plenty of energy. We even had a couple folks speak for the first time this whole quarter. Even if I can see a little hand gesture or a head nod, that's usually my sign, like, okay, I'm going to go for it with this kid. And it worked. Hopefully not super painful for the person, so that next time when they have an instinct to say something, they can actually do so. Okay, people are saying nice things about Joe, and I thank you all. So there's just 1 week left of Geology 351 before the final exam, Tuesday and Thursday of next week, the first week of June 2024. So enjoy your weekend, everyone, and look for a video that I'm very proud of that I edited the last couple of nights. Michael Eddy, Isla Pamukchu, Rachel, and Kenji, the grad students, at the Spirit Lake Pluton. I filmed a bunch, and I wasn't sure how I was going to edit it, but it fell together quite nicely, I think. So I'll probably make that public on Friday morning before Liz and I head over to Bellingham to spend the weekend with the baby. So thank you, everybody. I love you, and goodbye from Ellensburg, Washington, USA.